This video will break down exactly how to make a detailed map for Wizards and Warriors, the sister channel to Kings and Generals, specifically this map from their Lord of the Rings video. With help from their map designer Adam, I'll walk you step by step through the process. The first stage is research. Adam starts by finding an overview of the area. Luckily for Middle-earth, a website called Arda provides a nice template of the terrain. This can be used as a base for key topographic features like certain mountains, as well as coastlines, rivers and forests. Once Adam has his biomes and a reference map, he moves on to wonderdraft. The map needs to be highly detailed for zooming during the video, so a massive canvas is used. The first step on wonderdraft is to import a black and white height map to separate out land from the bodies of water. Next, he overlays the reference image, lowers the opacity and then traces over it. With the foundation set, Adam starts with any disruptive features like mountains and then rivers flowing away from them. This gives structure to the map, allowing progression to the next stage, adding colour. It's worth noting many fantasy worlds have a north is cold and south is hot colour palette. A good example of this is Game of Thrones, with the north covered in ice and the south by deserts. The same is true for Middle-earth and includes different shades of greens, browns and yellows. Adam then colours his different biomes, shading the lowlands, forests, plains and the special fantasy realm of Mordor. This is usually the longest and hardest part of the process, as designers have to blend biome colours so they naturally fade into each other. Finishing off this stage involves shading bodies of water, which aren't necessarily the same colour. Lakes and rivers will be shallower than oceans, so it makes sense a lighter turquoise is used here. Adam's last big step is to add plants. Grasses, cacti, marshland and palms are dotted around, with trees added to make up the forests. Finally, to give it a professional look, attention to detail is paid around coastlines by using a small brush size. Other distinct map features like Mount Doom and the Lonely Mountain are given extra work too. To make it really stand out, a frame and a vignette are added to finish off the look. This is not the end of the process. There are still several tasks needed before this map is ready. Typically roads, borders and locations are then included, but Adam didn't need to in this case, as Kings and Generals wanted to add their own in-house style to it. That came in the form of motifs, like settlements and place names written in a font of their choice. The next request from the K&G team is to divide the map into layers. These include land, water, mountains and plants. Separating these gives them flexibility to animate characters and armies below them, like this scene where troops were hiding in the forest, so the forest layer was placed on top of their icons. Adam now passes the map onto the K&G team for the final touches of their video. Faction territories are traced out, their edges blurred and coloured. Reducing the opacity of these shapes makes the map look smarter while showing off Adam's artwork. Given that a nation's borders often end on natural features like rivers, their team used this to hide border transitions below the map layers that Adam made. This allows them to have neat borders without the use of solid lines, retaining the map's quality look. Now remember when I said Adam didn't have to add place names or locations? We are now at the stage K&G placed them on the top layer of their map, along with some army sprites that are animated to tell the story. You might wonder, how do they get these units? Well, they are custom drawn by a specialist designer to maintain a certain style. Occasionally, these pieces are given a drop shadow or similar effect to make them appear 3D. Now we have the map, the layers and the icons, it's time to show you how K&G actually make use of these assets to make a professional video. One thing to make it feel more polished is the camera positioning. It's placed above the map with a slight tilt, giving the movement across Middle-earth a sweeping effect instead of simply panning. The camera also rotates a small amount for a more dynamic look, with the sounds of winds rushing past you to immerse you in their story. Pretty clever. Speaking of camera positioning, a lot of zooming is required on the map to explain locations in the world, or showing certain characters before a battle animation begins. Just to clarify, those smaller battle maps are made by a different artist. Other small additions include another dark vignette placed around the map corners for a cinematic look, and ambient details like birds flying overhead are included to bring the scene to life. As you know from my last video, K&G work in After Effects to move their sprites and generals across the map. To visualize the conquest of territory, they probably use a shape layer to cover up where a country will expand to, and then animate that in. If you think all of that was a lot of work, you can actually buy these maps from Adam for your own videos. He has hundreds of 5-star reviews and offers a variety of maps from large territories down to city scales. Links to his page are down below.